Ghost in the Shell is directed by Rupert Sanders and is the live-action remake of the classic 1995 anime film. This movie stars Scarlett Johansson, Takeshi Kitano, Pilo Asbayak, Michael Pitt, Chin Han, and Juliette Binoche. It takes place in a world where the line between human and robot has been blurred because people can now enhance their body with cybernetic parts. And Johansson plays a character named the Major, who has a human brain inside a synthetic body. And she keeps remembering certain things about her previous life, but the body that she is living in is not hers. All the things that she's remembering is from that brain. She's starting to realize that she was a different person. At the same time, she's trying to figure out this strange murder mystery that's going on that may be connected to her former life. At the time of seeing this remake, I'd never seen anything in the Ghost in the Shell franchise, so to see this movie was a completely fresh experience. And I've actually gone back and watched the original after watching this remake, and the original is this wonderful, beautiful piece of animation cinema. So much of it is dedicated to this internal struggle of the Major as she's trying to figure out where she fits in this world. Is she totally human? Is she totally synthetic? She doesn't know, and that is deeply fascinating. And it made me look back on the remake and realize that it is supremely inferior in my mind. I was honestly quite bored by this remake. It is very dull, it's very heavy-handed, the characters do not seem to fit in this world, especially the Major. She feels like she's just lumbering from set piece to set piece to set piece, scene from scene to scene, with very, very little connection. It felt very disjointed. No act of this movie felt like it was in the same movie. The only thing that basically connected was the visuals. And for the first 2/3 of this movie, the visuals were quite interesting. There's a lot of design that's gone into this world. However, as a fan of science fiction, sure, I appreciated the level of intricacy that has been put into the actual look of the world that this movie is taking place in. But I kept thinking, I've seen this before. I've seen it before in Blade Runner, or AI Artificial Intelligence, or even something like Tron Legacy. This movie for me just didn't feel original at all. It felt like just a hodgepodge of so many other ideas I've already heard. And I understand that the original Ghost in the Shell film inspired something like The Matrix and many other different things down the line. It's a hugely influential franchise. However, this remake has very little to do with that original apart from basic character names and some of the technology. That's about it. The rest of it is completely different. I didn't really like that because what I was watching with this remake was not anything special. It was lazily executed, it was well shot, has great production design, sure. It looks good for the first 2/3. But then that third act comes along and it just becomes so messy and so generic, and it doesn't feel like anything totally exceptional from this current world that we're living in of reboots and remakes and sequels. The characters are interesting, sure. Scarlett Johansson gives a good enough performance for what she's given, which is to just walk around being robotic and not having that many emotions, so she does fine for that. But that whole casting controversy that surrounded her, that is pretty distracting, because I kept watching this movie thinking, Rinka Kikuchi could probably do this better. Or having her there just probably would have felt a little better, would have felt more right. But it is what it is. We have Scarlett Johansson. The standout characters for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, are Batu and the Chief of Section 9, Daisuke. They have some of the best scenes in the movie. They are so badass. Just every time they come on screen, you feel their presence. Sure, Batu doesn't have any really big moment to just stand out, and Chief Daisuke, for some reason, only speaks in Japanese when everyone else in the movie is talking in English. So why not have everyone speaking one or the other? Why do we have to have both? It doesn't make that much sense. But like Johansson's performance, they give a good enough performance for what they are given. And what they are given is not that much. The writing is very clunky, it's very heavy-handed. I understand the ideas that it's trying to put forth, but it just did it in, again, such an uninteresting way. Ghost in the Shell was just not that interesting. I was very bored from a lot of this movie. They tried to trick me with some action sequences, but even those just felt so poorly edited. And it also tried to trick me with really cool, neat visuals. But by the end of this movie, those visuals, which look so good in the first 2/3, look like a PlayStation 2 cutscene. That's kind of a betrayal of the audience, because it brings you in with these cool visual ideas, but then doesn't hold on to that as it's trying to end the story. The cinematography by Jess Hall and production design by Jan Rolfs is wonderful, and there's definitely going to be shoo-ins for nominations for Oscars come next year. The rest of this movie isn't really anything. It could have taken this massive legacy that the franchise has built and do it in a different way, in a cool, new, fun way that we've never seen before. It could have been a truly exceptional piece of science fiction cinema. It could have been like the Thing remake to the original The Thing from Another World, or the Fly remake to the original Fly. It could have been an amazing remake. It's possible, but it just didn't happen. Ghost in the Shell lacks originality, lacks energy, and I'd have to say that you're probably better off watching Ghost in the Shell on a plane. So Ghost in the Shell, have you seen it? Please tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Tell me what you think about this review. There are going to be videos linked down here or one over there. For more Mr. Movies, please press my little face right there. Thanks for watching.